self-COVID swab test, is it really reliable? There are a variety of tests out there for the detection of COVID-19, which definitely have confused you already. In this video, you will be getting to know all about the self-COVID swab test, aka rapid access test. We will also be comparing it with the standard PCR test, and see which one test is better for you. Without wasting any more time, let's start testing. All about self-COVID swab test. For testing COVID-19 at the start, there was only one test named polymerase chain reaction, aka PCR, but that involved healthcare workers. In other words, their life was at greater risk, because they would have to come in contact with the patient, and hence, had greater chances of catching coronavirus. In 2020, there was another test announced named rapid antigen or access test. This test was less accurate than PCR but was great to use, because it was a self-made test, in where the healthcare workers won't have to do it for you. This test is commonly used for pregnancy tests. This test didn't gain that much popularity because of its bad accuracy than PCR and rapid results. But the surge of COVID-19 in early 2021 made the UK announce the self-COVID swab test. Because it was cheaper and thought they could really control COVID if everyone had to do it in the office, home, or even in the car every day. It was even said to be taken out by people with no symptoms at all. However, this test only shows positive results for those with an average and high coronavirus concentration rate, and slightly gives a rise to false negative results. Meaning people with mild symptoms or who have caught it recently and do not know about it, would likely go negative. Criticism on this test. As the UK government announced it, many scientists agreed to the thought and said, "It will be good to have this rapid testing, 'cause we are in the middle of a war and it can't get any worse than this." While some of the scientists, including John Deeks of Birmingham, said that people receiving false negative alerts will more likely change their behavior, while they would still be infected. Doesn't matter on which side you are on, it should be clear that what is the purpose of this self-swab test, and what does negative means in terms of this test. False negative and positive outcomes. In the case of the rapid access test, the false negative results are more likely to appear than the false positive because of its accuracy of sensitivity. Scientists says that the accuracy of the test and all others out there cannot be measured because this virus is new, and they need to examine it more preciously. As time is what matters here, they can only approximate the accuracy of these tests. If false negative results appear, it would lead to late treatments, and the people are much likely to ignore the caution. And in case of false positive results, it would lead to unneeded quarantine. All the false results have their goods and bad. The overall test will take about 30 minutes. Is it really reliable? Now that you know what the self-COVID swab test really is, it is time to test its accuracy and how much we should rely on the results. The first accuracy experiment was made in Charité's ambulatory coronavirus testing facility, with the participants of about 289, who were likely to suffer from coronavirus. First, these participants were said to self-test themselves, with 2 given swabs, for both of their nostrils. They were told to put it in for about 15 seconds, and rub it with 2 to 3 centimeters inside their nostrils. The experimenters took the swab specimens and analyzed them with the rapid antigen test. In the meanwhile, another professional group did the PCR test of all the participants, and in the end, both of the outcomes were compared. Here is the result. Out of the large number of 289, only 39 people were analyzed. In these 39 people, the PCR showed an accuracy of about 80%, meaning 31 people's results came out positive. While in the self-test of these 39 people, showed an accuracy of about 74%, meaning only 29 people's results came out positive. Dr. Denkinger said, "We of course had expected the outcome to be less sensitive, and here it is. She further included that if it is taken inside of your nostrils more deeply, the accuracy will be increased. If your test comes out negative, that doesn't mean you should properly trust it, because it would have missed you out if your symptoms were mild, just in case with the experiment. Self versus standard swab test. Let's jump to the most important part of the topic, the comparison between self-swab test and PCR swab test. But before we do that, you should know that neither of the tests is 100% accurate. If you would take a PCR test, better technology and equipment would be available for you, but that's not the case in rapid access testing, cause you would be getting it from your local pharmacy. The rapid test takes about 30 minutes to show the result, while the PCR test will likely take about 1 to 3 days for the result to come. As from the previous experiment, the accuracy of the PCR test was about 80%, while the self-test had an accuracy of 74%. Your self-test would less likely be perfect and will have high chances of error, while the professional PCR would be perfect and would have fewer chances of any error because it would have been carried out by professionals. Now let's talk about the airline, meaning you should have PCR test clearance if you want to get aboard. The self-rapid test will not be accepted at any cost, so it is better to get PCR clearance before a few days of your flight. From the above comparison, it is clear that PCR testing is still the best than the newly self-COVID swab test, and is 100% recommended by NHS. Which test you should go with? It is indeed a very tricky and complicated question, but there is one thing that I am assured of. If you want to test yourself every day or every once or twice a week, then you should probably go with the self-test. If your self-test comes negative, make sure to repeat it twice or thrice to assure yourself and keep your loved ones safe. We need to cooperate with our government and take rapid access tests regularly. If you get to have a positive result, then don't forget to fill the form in the official NHS mobile app or the website. So, your government can easily track down the infected areas. I hope I made the idea of the self-COVID swab test bright and shiny, and now you know which test you should go with. Now, don't forget to mention down your thoughts because it would save someone's life and time. If my video was informative to you, then press the like button, and if you want to be kept updated on COVID situation, then make sure to press that subscribe button as well. Until my next video, stay safe and healthy.